The Bills aren't they starting Josh Allen now? From what I hear.
Yeah, that's how bad Nathan Peterman was.
Yeah, yeah, and so that's even it brings a lot more question into this Bills game. I agree with you. There's only one way to lean in this game. It's the Chargers. After that awful start for the Chargers, they need to win a game. I feel that the Chargers are actually better when they actually play on the road, when they actually are than at home. They don't have that much of a home field advantage in LA.
Last week was basically a road game for him. I don't know if you saw the crowd, but it was all filled with Kansas City fans.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what tends to happen to them every single time. Yet they'll go on the road and all of a sudden do great things. So, this is probably a good spot for the Chargers to get back on their feet here after what happened. That a lot of steam came in on them once again before the season started. So definitely liking that side. Hate the 7.5, and at 6.5, I like it a lot better. But definitely like your thoughts on that. And that's kind of a good little segue into my game that I'm going to pick first, and that's Kansas City versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, a huge congrats to Kansas City for doing what they did. Like you said, huge crowd was there against their divisional opponent, but something really smelled about this game. First of all, the no Joey Bosa thing. He's still questionable to play next Sunday. We'll see what happens. That was a down for them. A kickoff return TD that happened right away from Tyreek Hill. That was a huge down for the Chargers as well. And the fact that Kansas City was outgained by 185 yards and still won this game due to turnovers and big plays. They had that huge pass as well to Tyreek Hill. So this was a very lopsided score. And so the fact that the Steelers came out with a tie in Cleveland should motivate them, because they want to be on top of that division, and they actually outgained Cleveland by 120 yards, and they had 7 sacks, but ended up with a tie. I like their pass rush this year. I hate Kansas City's defense, and you saw like I said, the Chargers, how they outgained them by 185 yards. The Chargers had some like almost 600 yards this game, I think. I'm going with the narrative that Kansas City does not have a defense, and they have to travel, to Pittsburgh. And even with no Le'Veon Bell, I have this game Pittsburgh winning by 7. I like the Steelers -5 all day.
Wow. All right. So let's get into our opposite picks here. Okay. So listen, I watched a lot of that Browns and Steeler game last week. I was really intrigued about the Browns, right? Everybody's saying, man, they're gonna be great this year. They're gonna win 7-8 games. I'm getting them to the playoffs, right? So I was intrigued. I wanted to watch it. I wanted to see how they were, right? I saw a team in poor conditions give it away to the Browns, right? Pittsburgh gave it away to the Browns last week. So, when I'm watching this Steeler team, I'm saying, man, there's something missing, right? What's missing with this team? And I know they're missing Le'Veon Bell, but they don't put the fear in you like they did 2 years ago. There's something missing, right? If the Browns had a head coach that was worth anything, right? They could have won this game by 7, right? 7-10, but there's something missing, right? And I took the opposite, right? I thought Casey looked really good. I mean, their defense is not great by all means, but Mahomes looked, man, he had 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He was like a 10-year vet throwing it around. He was making the right plays. He looked really, really good, right? Andy Reid, do I want him in the playoffs? No, but I think he knows how to get his team prepared, especially in the beginning of the season, especially with the young quarterback. I don't expect anything different of this game, right? I'm not, like I said, I'm not sold on that Kansas City defense. They were carved up by Phillip Rivers last week, and, Rivers could sling it all over the place. And I can see the Steelers cleaning up some of their nonsense from last week, but I ultimately think there's something really missing with that Steeler team, right? And I think that carryover from the Browns game is going to ultimately be their demise. So I'm taking 5.5 points with KC. I'm sorry, 5 points with KC, but I'm also going to go over 52.5. Right? I think this is going to be a shootout. The weather seems to be mid 70s, perfect. It's going to be 34-27, 37-27, somewhere around there. They're going to be slinging it all over the place. I just right now, with the way the Pittsburgh team looks, I feel like there's something missing there. So listen, I'm going to take the points. And I'm going to take the over as well.
Fair enough. Actually, that over went from 50.5 to 52.5. More sharp money is on the over, so definitely on that side, you probably benefit. This game might not even be, a good bet on the under until this thing reaches over 60. I was looking at the over myself, so I'm still kind of toying with that, and I'm going to probably wait to see what happens a little bit closer to Sunday for that part of the game. So what do you got next?
I'm a homer, right? I love my Bears just like you do, right? So I'm going to pick this Seahawks-Bears game, right? It's a Monday night game. It's going to be the Bears opening night in Soldier Field. So listen, even with the Seahawks, I haven't been on this team since the beginning of the year, right? It seems like they got rid of a lot of their players, the Legion of Boom. Offensively, they've got Russell Wilson, which I think is a really good quarterback, but he lacks any playmakers, right, on that offense. Like you had a Marshawn Lynch, right? They could run the ball, and he was the catalyst of throwing out to some of these smaller wide receivers, right? So, and you could even argue their best receiver, Doug Baldwin's not going to be out. Is going to be out for this game, right? They scored points from last week against Broncos, who have a good defense, but I'm not sold on them being an above-average offense throughout the year. Okay, so I'm sure you're thinking, okay, well, they still have some good players like Earl Thomas is 100% right. He plays really well, but it's not just about him. Right, this is about the whole defense. I watched that Bears team last week. In the first half, there's nobody that watched that said this team can make it to the Super Bowl and win it. That's how good they looked, right? The second half, they took their foot off the gas. Their defense got gashed from exhaustion, right? Khalil Mack looked amazing. Their defense looked amazing in the first half. I think part of being a young team, young head coach, young quarterback, kind of screwed them up in the second half there where they didn't make the right calls, make the right plays, and they just took their foot off the gas, right?
They choked it away a little ways. Rodgers played great, but at the same time, Kyle Fuller catches it, the game's over. If they go for it, if they run it on 3rd and 1 and then run it on 4th and 1, if they don't make it, the game is over. Instead, They go for the 6-point lead against Aaron Rodgers with 2 minutes left. It's almost like Matt Nagy has not watched the Bears the last 10 years. It's like we've seen this movie before. The Bears choked this game away just as much as Aaron Rodgers looked good, but at the same time, he gets all the credit now. People complain about that non-call pass interference, but that wasn't that. The game had nothing to do with that. In my opinion, the game had to do with the very end where the Bears should have won. But I do agree. The first half was amazing.
Yeah. So when you see it, you say, man, there's a lot of potential here. I like what they're doing. Their defense looks really good. So there's a lot of things you get to like when you watch the Bears, right? And for 3 out of 4 quarters, you watch the Bears and say, wow, I really like this, right? So here's what I'm doing. It's the Bears are giving 3.5. I'm taking the Bears as a double-digit winner. So I'm going to lay the points going into Monday night. I think the Bears are going to win by at least 10. I just have that really good feeling that they're going to come in prepared. So I'm taking the Bears and the 3.5. I'm going to give you 3.5, but I think the Bears are going to win by double digits.
That's and that's an interesting play because the line just opened up at 3 and then it goes right to 3.5. But there's been pretty equal betting from the public and the sharps on both sides. Some people believe in Russell Wilson, but you're right. Seattle's defense is decimated. They lost to a Denver team that has what some people think is some of the worst offense in the league. And now they have to go to Chicago. and face that defense. And they don't have an offensive line. Seattle doesn't have nearly the defense they used to. The only way they keep it close is if Russell Wilson is an absolutely amazing. I think Doug Baldwin might even be out this game as well.
He's out. He's been ruled out with a foot injury, right? He's their number one receiver. Look, he's going to be throwing to guys like Brandon Marshall, right? Does he have anything left? I know Chris Carson's a nice running back, but, is he going to scare you? No. Tyler Lockett, throwing it to him. So is there any big playmakers there? I just don't see it, right? And Russell Wilson, really good quarterback. Is he Aaron Rodgers? No.
Yeah. He's a great quarterback. He's got different traits than Aaron Rodgers for sure. But and he can win games, but he has nothing there. He might get banged up as well, as you see Khalil Mack. So my point is, I guess, that I do side with you on this. The 3.5 and the Bears opening up at 3 after that Packer loss, I think that tells you something right there. It tells you that there's only one way to go with this. I think it's with the Bears. And I do like that pick. There's absolutely no way I could bet Seattle, and pretty much, unless they were playing Buffalo, in any circumstance that I could see, because they're always going to get a lot of public money, and they're always going to get a lot of Russell Wilson backers. So definitely like what you're doing there. The next game I'm going to go into is New England versus Jacksonville, okay? So Jacksonville is at +2 right now in Jacksonville. Now, many people here believe that this is a revenge spot for Jacksonville, right? From what happened in the playoffs and for what Brady did to them last year in the fourth quarter. They just couldn't do anything. But trust me, this is not. I'm not looking at this like this is a revenge spot, because what's them to take vengeance over? They're choking. As a matter of fact, I think this is more of a spot where the Patriots know how good this team can be, and they're going to come into this game a lot more motivated. Like, that game was kind of like a wake-up call, in my opinion, for New England. And, they probably should not have won that game last year. But at the same time, I think now they are going to be prepared for it. I really do not like Jacksonville's quarterback, Blake Bortles, right? And I also do not like the fact that Leonard Fournette is banged up. He's questionable coming into this next game. Look at how many skill positions Jacksonville lost last year. Allen Hurns, Allen Robinson, Mercedes Lewis, some of their main pass catchers. And then all of a sudden, Marquise Lee in preseason bangs up his knee, and he's done for the year. The very next best guy. Okay? So Patriots are going to be stacking the box here, forcing the pass. I think, Tom Brady is going to win this game. Look at the Patriots. Against the spread last year, as an away favorite, they were 5-2. I'm going with that narrative. Patriots by 4. So I'm definitely laying the 2 points here.
Well, look, I looked at that too, right? And as we're sitting here talking, that dropped to 1.5 now, right? Mm-hmm. So there's some money moving on this. So I am nervous betting against Tom Brady. And I like this Jacksonville team. I think that, you make a lot of great points. I'm losing a lot of good players, right? Allen Robinson wasn't there the whole year. In fact, he didn't play one down for him. They've got a really good defense. It's just hard to bet against Tom Brady, especially so early in the year. You maybe want to bet him at the end of the year, maybe if he gets banged up and he's hurt. But, I like your thinking here. I'm not going to touch it because I am nervous that Tom Brady will win by 50, right? Yeah. And or Jacksonville's defense can come up. I just feel like every week or every year I say the Patriots are going to fall apart, and they don't, right? I'm like, this is the year. Tom's old. These guys are old. They're getting sick and tired of it. And you know what? They're going to put up another 13-win season. 12 wins, 13, 14 wins, and get to the Super Bowl again. So, listen, I can't bet against Tom Brady, so I really like your pick there.
All right, my man. Fair enough. Anything else?